If you've been trying everything to resolve a conflict with your partner and just nothing seems to work, and you're now at a point where you're wondering, do I need to go to couples therapy to work through these issues? Today I'll give you 5 important signs that tell you if your relationship needs immediate help and how you could start couples therapy the right way. I'll tell you why it's so important to be aware of these signs and recognize them as early as possible. The reality is, in my practice as a couples therapist, I see couples come very late to therapy. So this is after a while that they've been fighting, trying to resolve things on their own without knowing that all those fights, all those arguments have negatively affected their relationship. What I recommend is that you always watch for these signs, to detect these signs early, because if you come to therapy really late, where 80% of the relationship has been damaged to the point that maybe one of you is considering separation or divorce, or maybe one of you has emotionally checked out and just not as invested, then there's not much a couples therapist can do for you. So the timing of when you're going to start couples therapy is so important. I don't want you to wait to get couples therapy at a point where it's very late to recover and bounce back from the relationship issues. And that's just inevitable. If you're having many arguments that remain unresolved, there's going to be some emotional disconnection, some emotional distance. So you better watch out for these signs and come to therapy early on. So the first sign to watch out for is, how do you guys actually fight? How frequent are the fights? What do you guys fight about? Are you able to repair fights? So after having an argument, can you reach a conclusion? Can you actually resolve it? Can you come together to be on the same page? So the frequency, if you're able to actually repair the fight, and also the intensity of the fight. Of course, you're going to have arguments here and there with your spouse, but if you feel like the fights are becoming more aggressive and explosive and they tend to last a long time, like a couple of days, where you can start from the morning until the night, separate your bedrooms and not talk to each other for a couple of days, these are all concerning. It just shows that your ability to resolve conflict is diminishing, and these fights and arguments are piling on, and they're going to eventually affect the quality of your emotional bond. I would say if you're fighting more than once a week, it is a cause for caution. It doesn't hurt to see a couples therapist if they're getting intense and you're not able to repair. That's also another sign. The other thing is, sometimes people think that yes, they're fighting, but they're getting by, they're still living together, their relationship is intact. But to be honest with you, without you knowing, your relationship is being impacted in the sense that you're probably holding on to some resentment from the past. You're probably not feeling as close as you used to your partner. So these things are going to build up, and in the future, they're going to come back and bite you. So I would say take them seriously. The second sign is, if you've been feeling more negative feelings in your relationship recently, then maybe it's time to give couples therapy a try. So if you're feeling more of these intense feelings, and let's say it's gone on more than 2 weeks, I would pay attention to that. Maybe 2 weeks is a short time, but at least a month, right? And what I mean by these negative feelings are, perhaps you're feeling more sad, you're feeling lonely, you're feeling disconnected from your partner. Maybe you're feeling anxious, hopeless, helpless about even the future of your relationship. And most of the times, these feelings are important to pay attention to because they signal to you that something important for you is missing. Some of your needs are not met in the relationship, and hence you feel this way. I would encourage you to open up to a therapist about this. And of course, it helps if it's a couples therapist, because it's actually in a way great that you're having these feelings, because they tell you exactly what you need in the relationship, and the therapist can work with the two of you or just you alone to see what the barrier is. So if you have these emotional needs, how come you can't get them in your relationship? If you let yourself be in a state of unhappiness for 6 months, a year, 2 years, I guarantee you it's going to affect your relationship negatively. The least it's going to do is that you're not going to feel as close to your partner, so you're not likely to open up to them when you're going through something. So it's just a very lonely experience in your relationship. And why do that when help is available? The third sign that tells you maybe you need to give couples therapy a try is when you're not feeling the same same spark, the same attraction to your partner as you used to. Now I get it, being in a stable, long-term relationship after 10 years, of course things are going to subside and you're not going to feel those butterflies toward your partner, but there still needs to be some level of affection. A lot of times people come to me and they're like, I feel like we're roommates, just like two housemates, like he's my brother or she's my sister. I wish I could tell you that's a good sign. It's actually not a good sign. The most important part of a relationship is its intimacy, it's its passion and physical chemistry. And that's, if you have a table, you have 3 legs of the table remaining and one is missing. That's how important this part of a relationship is. So even though you may not be worried about this right now, I'd be really concerned for that relationship 5 years down the line, 10 years down the line, because there are certain intimacy needs that are not being met in this relationship. I would say that would make a relationship more open to the risk of infidelity because both partners' needs are not being met. If you feel that lack of passion, that spark, and one way to quantify it is, are you having sex with your partner, hugging each other, kissing each other? If not, then let's talk about it. Let's talk about what's going on. And a lot of times what's happening in the relationship itself is going to impact the intimacy part. So they go hand in hand. It really is worth it to talk to a couples therapist about that. It's definitely something that you could improve, and just for us to see where the issue is, what's causing this issue. The other thing I want to add to that is sometimes people tell me, I'm not feeling that spark, certain things my partner does goes on my nerves. The way he talks, the way he dresses, the way he walks, the way he is, like just his physical being. In that case, this is the same thing. That passion has died down, and I really want to dig deep to see what's going on and if there's a way for us to bring back that passion into the relationship, because having a good sex life is going to help you work through issues that come up in your relationship if you feel bonded in that way. If you want to know how your relationship is doing right now and you want to have a quick assessment of what's working well in your relationship and the things that you and your partner need to work on, I have the best relationship assessment test linked below. Feel free to download that assessment. It's going to give you a great overview of the things that are working great, the things that you need to work on as a couple. And the 4th sign is if you or your partner have uttered the words separation and divorce. I know when you get into arguments, you may be hurting, you may be in some sort of an emotional pain, and on an impulse, you may say, I want a divorce, I want a separation. Yes, okay, we're not going to make a big deal out of it, but the fact that you or your partner has uttered those words is a bit of a red flag, because it tells me you or them are in such emotional turmoil that their relationship needs are not being met, to the point that they're in so much pain that they're considering separation, because that's the ultimate solution to the end of their problems. They've tried to work through things, nothing seems to work, and now they're thinking about alternatives being getting divorced and a separation. So what I tell you is always take these things as a warning, not a bad warning, but as a warning that there are things that need to be worked on. Otherwise, your relationship may be at a risk of a separation or a divorce. It doesn't matter if you've been with a partner for 20 years and they've said that so many times to you. It doesn't matter. You need to take it seriously, because people really don't throw out that word divorce, the D word, just lightly. It means they're in a lot of pain and they're really questioning if this is a viable relationship for them. Now, the 5th sign is a very tricky one, and it's a hard one to talk about, because yes, you may have a lot of love for your partner, there may be like your family, but now you're finding yourself thinking about other people, thinking about other connections, maybe people you know at work, because we spend a lot of time at work. You're thinking about an ex, you're wondering, daydreaming what it would feel like to talk to that person. This could also be someone you know, like your friend's partner. So you're just talking to random people, co-workers, friends, and you're like, I wonder how things would feel like with them. What would it be like if I wasn't in my relationship and I'd be talking to them and I was in a relationship with with them, or maybe you're thinking there's this person that I'm seeing at work, or my ex, or this person I met at a party and they've been messaging me. They're occupying space in my mind. In that case, there's a reason you're doing that. Is it normal for you to do that? I'm not sure, but it does mean there's something missing in your relationship that you're now wondering about these other stuff. Maybe it's a lack of stimulation, maybe you don't feel as challenged, you don't feel as excited. It could be so many different reasons, but if you catch yourself daydreaming about stuff like that, it's time for you to pay attention and seek therapy. If you recognize these signs in your relationship and wondering, how could couples therapy really improve my relationship? Watch the video on the screen where I'll walk you through exactly what couples therapy can do for you, how it'll work, and whether it's the right next step for you.